So just got done tuning motors. This is an old Gecko G320. For anyone who just watched that video, this is the end of it. I was saying I'm going to go ahead and put Humpty Dumpty back together again. Before I did that, I figured, well, maybe I'll just give folks a tour of the machine, as it were. This is a 1982 Bridgeport, crammed into my little tiny one-car garage, along with about 8 zillion other unfinished projects. I've added a variable frequency drive to it. That's the controller for that. Grossly out of focus. Focus on something here. Come on, phone. There we go. That's the Z drive. I think you can see what's going on there. It's a 3-to-1 ratio on that. There's a fairly good sized ball screw in there, you can see. It's the same size as the one for the table. It's the ones for the table. There's some drawings on and other photos on my CNC zone thread that shows a little bit more about how that's built. One thing I did manage to avoid was actually jamming, using the tram nuts to attach this. I use this horizontal strut come across that bolt, and then over here it bolts to actually bolts to the bottom casting that sticks out for the old depth stop. And I also, did I grab the top? I did not grab the top depth stop. Can almost see in there. Anyway, but like I said, there's better pictures of that. Some still shots from when I was building it. Z drive. That's the new motor, new old motor, whatever. It's running, and the Y drive. Again, real basic. It's just a 3-to-1 reduction on that one. 10 tooth on the motor, 30 tooth on the shaft. The ball screws are for Rockford ball screw. That kit was probably, retrofitting that kit was probably the easiest part of this whole thing. Even though on the Z, I did have to mill that down, but that's, that was just a completely custom thing. I've got this set up so that it does clear the foot, the base, when it comes down. And that in part was what this spacer noise was all about. So I designed it with the spacers so that I could do that, but it worked out. I think if I could come up with a different motor or something, I could probably get away with probably get rid of those spacers. But anyway, that's there. They've been fine. The machines, other than the problems I've been having with the X-axis, the machine's been accurate. It's not like it's a production machine. I don't use it all the time, but when I do use it, it's been fine. That's pretty much it. Kind of basic monitor, keyboard, mouse on a little platform over here. The head, stock motor, and then I guess what's going on in the cabinet. The cabinet's pretty noisy. I need to get it squared away. So, but I'll zoom back here. I'll throw some light down there. Kind of, you've seen one of these, you've seen 1,000. This does not. This was a simple build. I didn't go crazy with DIN rails and PLCs and that kind of stuff, right? It's just basic. So there's the Leeson VF variable frequency drive for the Bridgeport motor. That's the homebrew power supply. I think it's a kilowatt. Probably worth noting the thyristors. If you're building a big power supply like this, you are going to need those or something else to limit inrush current. This thing will trip breakers like crazy. When those capacitors start pulling in power, they pull in a lot of power really fast, and I even slow blow circuit breakers that blew them up. Or didn't blow them up, it caused them to trip, so that was a pain in the butt. Once I got that taken care of, things were much better. Whoops, didn't mean to do that. Let's see if we can get some more light down here. Okay, fuse block. Got some starter relays. I got a lot of this stuff surplus. Actually, a lot of these terminal strips came with the cabinet. I got this cabinet surplus. This is what I did. How I did the geckos. So there's 3 on the, I guess, on the back side of the board, and then on the other side of the board is the breakout board. This was by Bob Campbell back in the day. I don't think he's in business anymore. Did its job. I'm gonna replace it because everything's, there's better stuff out there now. And then the computer, it's a Dell Optiplex. I don't even know what it is right now off the top of my head. It's old. So let's see, what is it? Sorry, it's not an Optiplex, it's a Power Edge. I can see the thing. There we go. Power Edge 500 SC. Had a little crisis with this a few weeks ago. SCSI card wouldn't kick in. Pulled out the SCSI card, cleaned up the contacts with an eraser, shoved it back in. Had the same similar problem with some memory errors. So, things get old and get corroded and shit happens. But by today's standards, this is a dinosaur slow-ass computer. I'm running Mach 3. I haven't had any problems with that. So again, it's kind of the power distribution, and then the geckos. I don't like this mounting arrangement. It makes it very hard to work on the geckos when you need to. You don't need to often, but you can see down here I'm trying to do some calibration and figure out what's going on. It's just too difficult to work with. So stuffing things in, edgewise like this is, I would recommend against that. And I'm going to downsize the computer and redo this mounting, this whole kind of a cluster here. You can see the ferrite beads on the variable frequency output. That was an experiment to see if that was a problem that was causing me some what I thought was electromagnetic interference on the encoder for the X drive, causing step problems, but it wasn't. It was the problem was the capacitor, the 1 UF capacitor that needed to be added to the HEDS encoders. So if you're using some of those HEDS encoders and geckos, I would make sure you get the capacitor in there. It seems to solve a world of problems. And then, let's see. And then that little LED was fine at the time. It wasn't that easy to come by LEDs that would handle 100 volts. That one will. So I just put that across the leads to tell me that there's juice in the system. There's juice in the system, so I'll go stick a screwdriver in there. And then that little, what is that? A 5 watt 2K ceramic resistor across the capacitor is for discharging when I shut the thing down. That is is an important safety feature with these big capacitors. They will light you up. Guess that's about it. Crazy wiring. You'd think I'd have a whole bunch of EM interference issues. I don't, and that's what this last test was about. So it's been a pretty good machine. I'm happy with it. But it is time to upgrade the electronics. And apparently the lighting situation in my shop. Okay, thanks everybody. Should I leave you with a picture of the scope? There you go. Later.